that some of the most important, worthwhile lessons in life are often the most simple, the most overlooked. One of my greatest realizations is that any situation is far less important than your interpretation of it. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that anything in life is simply a product of the meaning that we give it. As Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And this is extremely significant because it unlocks any door in the world. To be able to have that perspective, that understanding that you are the one in control. Knowing that will undoubtedly take you places. The question, of course, is what are you doing about it, right? It's no secret that if you look at things with a negative lens, they're going to appear negative. If you look at life as this giant tragedy and you're always the helpless victim, guess what? You'll remain that way. You're essentially enabling a self-fulfilling prophecy. We are who we believe we are. The world around us exists as we allow ourselves to see it. Words like difficult, impossible, they have no meaning. They don't even exist until we give them life. Think about it. We are creating negativity. You know, constructing barriers that have absolutely no reason to be up. I like to simplify this equation because to me, it's about having a goal and achieving it. That's it, right? You're at point A and you want to get to point B. And there are really two options. You can map out your path and make it happen, or you can create reasons that it's not possible, that you can't do it, that success isn't for you. Right? Starting with the little things like waking up early or changing, eating habits. We look at what's in front of us and we ask why. We don't ask why not. And here's my take. If human beings got a man on the moon, you can come up with a strategy to wake up early without hitting a snooze button. It is that simple. And this applies all the way up the ladder to larger things, to running a marathon, getting a promotion, on and on and on, getting out of a particular situation. See yourself as someone who wins, who succeeds. Leave all that other baggage behind you. It helps no one. They say some of life's greatest accomplishments were achieved by people who didn't know they were once considered impossible. They had a target and they hit it. Before you even think about your specifics, you have to know that a solution is out there, that it exists. It's just a matter of whether you will make it happen. And that's where it's so important to set yourself up to succeed, to brush the negativity aside and to analyze what's in front of you with the lens of someone who can and will get the job done. Surround yourself with positive people. Quit associating with things that tell you anything but yes. Life is hard enough as it is, right? You don't need additional hurdles. It's about you and that goal, you and your objectives. Not can you, but how will you? How will you get to your final destination?
Right on.
Yep.
Good for Monday motivation.
Yep. Have a positive mindset, take small steps.
Yep, that's awesome. And you are who you believe you are.
Yeah, it's just what we were talking about. No negativity.
Yes, exactly. Exactly what we're talking about. We don't need everything always shows up when it's needed. But yeah, I did write that part down. But life is hard enough, or as it is. You don't need to put more hard stuff in there, negativity and that kind of stuff. So cool. Yeah, I like that. I like how you keep it. How it's so simple, You are who you believe you are. It's just all about having a goal and achieving it. see yourself as someone who succeeds and who wins. That's it, right? And we've already got the plan. We've already got everything. We just have to have the mindset that we know that we're going to succeed. Yeah. And life is a product of the meaning that you give it and the way you look at things. It's, or what is it? If you change the way you look at things, then the things will change, or something like that. Wayne Dyer.
Now, the things
Something
you
like
look
that.
at change.
Yeah, the things you look at change. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it never fails if you think this issue or this problem, it was so terrible, blah, 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 then it seems like another thing happens and it's just as bad or worse. And then another thing happens and it just seems like it's always happening, where it's really probably not, but that's the way you perceive it. And
Yeah,
it could be the smallest thing to the biggest thing. Whatever happens in life, is if it didn't kill you, then you're going to live through it. You can make it better.
yeah, right. Yeah, and then you can make a change. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely, even this week, even today, I woke up this morning and said, this week, I'm going to be more focused on, I'm doing this and this is happening and this is who I am. You know, I am someone, what was it? I'm someone who succeeds and wins, you know, rather than, oh, this is hard. This is a lot of work. This is, well, I got to do this. I got to do that. No,
And
somebody
that's part of the posturing. I mean, you've got to have that mindset if you want to come off as somebody that knows what they're talking about, that is a leader, that can motivate. If you can't do that for yourself, nobody else is going to believe a word you say.
That's right. Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, we have more people on.
Yeah, there you go. Good morning, Tamara. Good morning, Dee.
Morning.
Everybody-
What's with the video?
Everybody slept in
morning.
today. It's 10 after.
Yeah, you missed it.
Everybody's, it was about waking up early, right?
Oh,
I'm serious. It was
Yep.
figuring out how you could wake up early. Make yourself wake up early.
go to bed earlier.
Yeah, well, no, it's not just that. I conditioned myself to get up early. I was always someone who got up late.
But
But now,
what did
go ahead, Margaret.
what did he just say in the video? If man can get to the moon, you can figure out how to wake up earlier.
That's right. That's exactly what he said.
And I'm not
Yeah.
talking to any one person, I'm talking to me.
Yeah, right. And I figured out a way to get up early. I have no problem getting up early now. So that's awesome. And I find it helps a lot. Because I just wake up around 6 o'clock, around 6 a.m. whenever, you know, there's no alarm clock. And then if I get up late, it's like 7 o'clock, but I'm still up pretty early. I'm up early enough. So that's awesome. But I was never like that. So I think his point being that, you know, whatever you need to do, I find diet had a lot to do with it, because or the patches have a lot to do with it, actually, now that I think about it. Because I don't feel tired in the morning anymore. I don't feel like I need to keep staying in bed and sleeping more. And so I figured out a way, and now I don't have that feeling anymore of being exhausted and not waking up. And if I am, I'll sleep an extra hour, you know, that's fine, but on a regular basis. So yeah, that was a great little video. You guys can go back and watch the replay, but just about if you changed, what is it, Margaret? If you change the way you look at things, the way the things you look at change, yes. And it's all about seeing yourself as someone who succeeds and someone who wins, you know, just having that in your mind all the time. Or in our case, like see ourselves as someone that's successful, already successful at the business, you know, like an Onyx Cole, like, you know, if we've got that vision in our minds that we are just like them, then we will be, you know, we just work into it.
I think another question, I've heard this, another question to ask yourself is, would anybody want to follow you? Or why would anybody want to follow you?
Right.
Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing to have people follow you?
Yeah. And then also in our case, if we're really excited about this product and it shows, and we have our story behind it of why we're excited, people will follow that too. You know, I gotta try this stuff. Just like you were saying the other day, Brady, that sold me. If I was riding a motorcycle and found that I had difficulty, like with my wrists being sore, I would, if you said it worked for you, I'm gonna give it a try, you know. And you said it convincingly enough, not like in a sales way, you know, like this is the best thing ever. You got to try it. You know what I mean? There's a difference. You can tell someone's just saying that because they want you to buy something, like an infomercial type thing, or genuinely like, wow, this really worked for me. Maybe you should try it too. You know,
It's got to be part of your personal story, no matter what it's helping you with. There's somebody out there that has the same issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think too, with following us, it's like, yeah, so try the product if it works for you, and you can share it like I'm sharing it, and this is where we're getting to, and you could get there too. So that's the following part on the business side. You know, I think that just, because like I learned something on the weekend. I had someone, I take these calls all the time, you know, the cold calls that people are trying to sell you something. And I took one this weekend. They just phoned me on the phone, and I answered it and I talked to them. And the main reason why I'm answering it is to see what their technique and what their approach is on their sales process. And it was good in the way that they wouldn't give up. They wouldn't say no. And they put me on to the expert, you know. And then the expert gets on the phone, you know, oh, I'm just the new guy, or I'm just I forget what they said. And they were trying to sell Forex trading or I don't even know, actually, some trading.
No, they're not going to let you go.
They wouldn't let me go. And, but so I talked to them for half an hour, you know, just to see where this route was going with them. And then by that time they were frustrated for not getting a sale. But it's a good learning thing. And so the biggest mistake they made with me, they're talking to me like they have no idea about me, right? So if they had to ask questions about me and asking me what I need, then I'd be more willing to talk to them, and even taking a look at what they have to sell, what they, you know, and I really sense that, you know, it's like, you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, if you have kids and a family, you're going to really need this. Why not ask me if I have kids in a family, not, you know, first, or what my situation is. You know, you gotta do this for your family, or you know what I mean? You gotta, you know, first talk to the person, find out what they need, what their situation is, and then talk to them about that. So if it had a, you know, I almost got to the point where, hey, let me tell you something. This is what you should be doing, because you're not getting, you know, you're not getting any sales. So I could tell that they probably get a lot of sales, but they're just doing volume, right? They're just doing this to dozens and dozens of people a day. And then maybe, but I could see the frustration it caused me. It's gonna, and I kind of know what they're trying to sell, you know. For someone that didn't know, then they would have just hung up.
I remember one time I was in another company, and this lady that was in it with me, she used to laugh about how she hung up on network marketers that called her. And I said, do you stop and listen to what you're saying to yourself? And then you wonder why you can't get anybody to talk to you.
Yeah.
And she kind of changed her mind a bit about that. Well, I mean, it makes sense. What you throw out, you get back.
Yep. And I think in this case, this weekend, I would have, I might have taken a look at what they had, if they had approached it in the right way, you know, if they had a because you know, for instance, I've been trading Forex for about 5 years, And so I know what they're talking about. And if they had more asked me about what I know and what I've done and where my, what I need help with as far as trading goes and what I've done before, and been interested in that side of things. And I think it takes the same amount of time. It takes the same amount of time to do that as it did to do what they're doing, which is just fire off some scripted, things.
Yeah.
And they were good at what they did. They weren't like amateurs, like you could tell, like they're reading off a piece of paper kind of thing. These guys were not doing that. They knew what to do. So,
They
anyway.
practiced a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, they've done it a lot, I bet, is my guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They just closed 2 major highways here from the snow. Holy crap.
Wow. Where are you again,
It's
Margaret?
in Toronto area. It's
Oh,
been
yeah,
snowing
Toronto.
since last night
Yeah.
at 10 o'clock.
I know. My mom's in Ottawa, right? She sent me a picture of the front door with that much snow on the bottom.
You send her a picture of the beach?
Yeah, I stopped doing that because it gets people mad. Well, I don't do it as often as I
Good
used
way to get blocked.
Yeah, blocked by your own mom.
Yeah.
Stop sending me pictures of the beach.
Especially in the middle of winter.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny. People don't like the winter. I don't know how to explain it. They're there because they want to be there. Like they don't want to. They deal with the cold and then they complain about it. I guess you could say that. The cold and the snow.
Yeah.
So
Like
Yeah.
somebody said, if you're gonna live here, you get the same amount of snow and cold, whether you like it or not. So you might as
Yes.
well do something with it.
Yes, and be happy about it. I explained that to her this weekend too, because I used to live in the ski resort, right, in Whistler. And the great
Yeah.
thing about living there, and it's kind of what we're talking about here, everybody's happy. They love the snow. When it snows, people are like jumping up and down and they're so excited, and that's great. And then when it's summer, they're excited that it's summer because they can get out and do mountain biking and stuff. And then so if the weather is you can't change the weather, just get out there and do something, like you said, and
Yeah.
enjoy it. Yeah, instead of
Did mom ever come and stayed with you in the winter?
she doesn't like to travel. She can't travel really. So I've offered many times to come down, but she doesn't want to. And here it's a little bit hard to get to. It wouldn't be a direct flight. It would be like an overnight somewhere from the East Coast. So because it's not so bad coming down here, but when you're going back, you're fighting the time zone, 2-hour
Yeah.
time zone. So you can't get a direct flight, and then you have to fly into somewhere where you got a connection. And you can't get there early enough to get there. So, but either way, she would have to have somebody like my sister come down on a plane. But I find people complain about the weather, but they're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to come down and.
Well, people complain about anything and everything in their life.
Kind of like this business. People want the money, but they don't want to do the daily. Stuff.
Daily work,
Stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to either, but
Well-
I force myself to start taking
Yeah.
these baby steps and get used to doing it.
Yeah, I think that's for all of us. Yeah, me included. So, yeah, but even, you got to notice things like most people don't. Yeah, you must know in Toronto, it's the same, Margaret. I find people complaining about the weather all the time. It's too hot in the
Yeah.
summer. They're complaining it's too hot. I just look at people in shock when they say that in the summer. Oh, it's too hot today. Like for 8 months, they've been complaining about how cold it is. And now they're complaining about how hot it is.
When
Wow.
people say it's too hot, I always say, just think about February, March.
Oh, it's
You'll be
unreal.
fine. You'll live.
And Toronto's not as bad as, Ottawa on the outsides of Toronto.
It's not usually, and I'm right by the water, so we don't even get as much as other parts of Toronto get. but it's just, this is the storm that's going through, so it
Yeah,
happens once a year.
Here I was complaining this morning because I got up, there was about, I don't know, half inch of snow down there. And it's like cold, and I knew I had to go put salt down on the sidewalk. I'm like, oh, why? But it's part of it.
Yep.
And it's not even bad here.
Yeah.
Well, it's all relative.
Don, did you get any extra waves from the tsunami?
No, I think
No?
we're too far south.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually really calm yesterday. Calmer than normal. I noticed that it was. And what about you? Because it's from Tonga, right? That area?
Yeah, we didn't have a major warning or anything, but there were like water washing up in places.
Okay.
Like at the beach where my son, where, you know, our family paddles canoe, the water came up to the holly, so it was, you know, kind of muddy and everything, but that was minor. The last time it happened, it actually came and did damage along the coast. So,
Right.
but I heard that it reached as far in as California.
Oh,
So I was
did
just
it?
wondering, but I know you're way down south like me.
Yeah,
so.
we're way south, and then I think it was up north too, Vancouver Island, and that I heard that it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah, and up as far as Alaska, no? Weren't they saying Alaska too?
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't really, I'm so isolated down here, I just cut the news off. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world.
Isn't it fabulous?
Yeah, you know, it is. I've been doing that a long time. So talking about putting negative thoughts in your head, the more news you watch and pay attention to, the more negative stuff you got in your head all the time. And before it used to be just as simple as turning the TV off. Now it's not. It's like news is everywhere. Social media, people talking about it here and there, and everywhere. Yeah. So I think that's important. I've been telling people that for, I don't know, 15 years. You know, you can't pay attention to every single problem that somebody has around the world. You know, just deal with what's in your immediate area of, your immediate family and your immediate surroundings.
Well, it's like this, if you focus on, winning in this business, you're gonna win. It may take you a long time, but you're gonna do it. And if you focus, it's easy to get rid of the news if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does this saying go? What you focus on expands. So whether it's something positive or something negative, it's going to expand.
And there's a lot of grief and there's a lot of hard times in the world. So you're constantly exposed to that. And people feel they need to be, what do you want to call it, up to date with what's going on in the world. And now I think it's just too much now in the last 5 years or longer.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, do you watch the news already? Like,
I read this stuff all day long, back and forth. And it's so hard for me to put it down and just forget about it.
It is. We're addicted to it. It's like driving past a traffic accident. You got to look to see what's going on, instead of just. But I think it's important.
I used to be that way, always reading the newspaper until my boys went in the military. And then I had to stop because every time I saw something, read something about the war, I would be in tears. Even with the radio driving, especially if I wasn't driving, someone else was, and a certain song came on, I had to ask them to change the channel. It was hard.
Oh, wow. See, and lots of people don't even realize how much it's affecting them. How much, putting that in your mind is affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I think, especially like what's happening here, you can't just let what's I don't know about where you guys are, but like in Canada right now, they're talking about the provincial government's meeting with the federal government and taking away the Charter of Rights, like just eliminating it, which means we have no rights at all. So on one hand, I agree that it can be depressing and stay away from it. But on the other hand, do I want the cops coming to my door and saying, well, we can do this now, and me sit back and say, well, crap, I did nothing about it. So
Yep.
There you go. So that's where I find, especially in the last year.
Yeah.
That's where I've been finding it hard to draw a line.
Yeah,
I
and
think
Margaret,
that with that kind of mind, I was gonna say, I think that it's important also to like accept that, well, if you have a spiritual relationship with whatever your higher power is, I think it's important to realize that whatever our attention gets focused on, like there's a reason for that as well. So like all of us are concerned about health. We want to do it in an organic, natural way. We want our bodies to be as much as possible in its best state. So that's what our focus is on. And so the things that are out of alignment with that would catch our attention. And so for some people, maybe it'll be more focused on politics. And for other people, it'll be more focused on just the environment or just diet. And that's okay, because each one of us is going to operate in our strengths and gifts and wherever our, spiritual sense is sending us, so that we can be the most effective in that way, because that's where our passion lies. So like for like Dawn is saying, like, and for me as well, like, you can tap into the news about what's going on to kind of stay current, but not really get as focused on it as like Brady is, where he's saying he checks throughout the day. Doesn't necessarily mean that either one of us is less interested, but whatever our heart draws us to is more of the focus. And that is good, because then when something powerful is going on, Margaret comes in and she shares like that news about Canada. I know I've been seeing some stuff around the nation with the C-19 action. So like it makes sense that we all have varying degrees of interest with whatever is going on. But again, it's whatever we really want to put most of our focus on, that's going to expand. So if we put most of our focus on that news, we are going to be stressed out. But staying up to date and current keeps us informed, and then we can share the benefits of whatever we know as it relates to what's going on in the world. And then the people who are most interested in that, whether it's music or health or the news, they're going to be drawn to whichever one of us. And I don't mean like in this bubble, but I mean like in life in general, whoever is really passionate about that. And I think we don't have to necessarily think like we're not checking in and tuning in as much as like our heart doesn't draw us to that as much as something else. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, good.
yeah.
And you have to remind yourself of that all the time.
Yes.
Yes, sure.
And what you're going to take action on.
Yeah, what you're going to take action on.
If you're going to think about the country and politics and this and that, what's going on, your focus is drawn that way. But if you're not going to take the action to actually help the situation, what's the sense of putting all that in your head?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. And so what can we do, right?
Yeah, right. And Margaret, in the sense of Canada, that is an important issue. And I think it's worth taking that's kind of, maybe it's not in your immediate surroundings, but it's going to affect everyone in Canada. So it's worth paying attention to this, taking away the Charter of Rights and the Constitution and all that stuff. That's insane. So yeah, it's worth spreading that word and doing something.
And it's amazing. And you know what? I don't know how much Canadian politics you know, but like in the 80s or 70s, it was his father that created the Charter of Rights.
Trudeau's father?
It was Trudeau's father.
Wow.
Yeah, in the 80s, yep.
Yep. Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Yeah. Which means if they do, now we're getting into politics, we've got 2 minutes left, but yeah, they want to take all the rights away from Canadians completely, and you've got no rights. They have the right to.
Yeah, because they want everybody to get vaccinated.
And tell you that.
And that's how they're going to do it.
Yeah. So anyway.
Anyway.
So that is important. Yeah, I think I like the idea that, how much focus you put on something. I think it's important to put a little bit of focus on that. because it does affect everybody, like in the world, but in Canada. And so, and like Dee said, you don't
Well,
want all your focus on that, and then you're drained in that one area.
Well, and that's where it goes back to the 90-day run and taking, you don't have to take the full 8 hours, 16 hours a day. If you take 2 hours a day, get the other stuff off your mind and focus on your business for 2 hours, take the action for 2 hours, at least you're making the steps.
Yep.
Progress, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a really great reason to continue to be present and to like show up for people, so that as they get to know us and our personality, we can share these interesting facts that we're learning about the world or food or health, and they will know that we're passionate about these things. And so they can trust when we say this is what we've learned and we really believe it, or, you know, I don't know about that. Like, we're not anybody's like personal savior or anything like that, but we can have positive influence and at least ask people, like, don't take my word for it, go and look for yourself, go check this out, you know, and positively influence and help other people take action. Because like Brady said, like, what good is all the knowledge if you don't put it into action? And sometimes for us with LifeWave and this opportunity and technology, like,